Good morning, Twitch TV, and welcome to our community catch-up. My name is Andy Belford. I'm the community manager for Waystone Games, and we're the makers of Dawngate, the brand new MOBA from Waystone Games. What is that one Austin Powers moment where like he says something and then there's got that awkward phrase sentence? Anyways, phraseology, it's a thing. Alrighty, so joining me today is actually Pat Morrison, our character artist extraordinaire here.
Hi.
Hi Pat, how are you today?
I'm good, Andy. How are you today?
I am good. Gonna go ahead and I'm looking over here at the chat. The chat is saying hi. I'm sure IRC is saying
Hello,
hi
chat.
as well.
Nice to
Hello,
meet you.
chat. Excellent. Let me see. Let me double check the thing.
Today,
Yes,
I
we are
am
online.
good.
Okay. Oh, and then there was echo. That's awesome. So Pat's gonna chat with us today about some character modeling, designy type stuff, fun things like that. But before we do that, let's get to know Pat just a little bit. What do you say? What do you say, folks at home? Sounds okay. Good. So Pat, you've been doing this whole game thingy mabobber for a while, right?
Yeah. Coming up on 9 years, actually.
Yes, my
Yeah,
face
9,
is
I think.
very bald compared to Pat's. This is very true.
Yes. Sorry. I saw Desecor. Yeah, if you draw Petrus and Desecor, I think you're very welcome. You're welcome. I shouldn't be pointing at this monitor. I should be pointing
Pointing
there.
at that one, yes, you.
So about me, I guess.
9 years.
Almost.
9
I think
years?
this is year 8.
Year 8?
For me, but I started with
Well, how about this?
Activision.
Activision.
I
Okay,
worked
so
at,
where'd you go to school at?
I went to school at the Art Institute of California, Los Angeles.
Art Institute of
Yes.
California, Los Angeles.
Yes.
Wow. And so there's a lot of folks in the industry, I would say, who came out of the Art Institute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays a bit more than
Right.
when I was going to school.
Way back when.
when I was going to school. It's funny because when I went to Art Institute, I was like one of the first graduating classes of any type of digital art.
Wow.
For video games or animation or anything like that, and it
Wow.
was an interesting experience. I have no idea what it's like now. I assume
You're
that
leaning
it's
a little off camera. Really.
Sorry.
You gotta be a little. You
much
gotta be a
better.
little intimate with me, sir.
Okay.
It's okay.
You know, and I graduated from Art Institute in LA, and then started working for Activision,
Right on.
which was really cool.
So, what games may we have seen your work on before then?
I worked on Call of Duty 3.
Okay.
I did some work for early pre-production of a 007 game that I'm not sure ever
Saw the light of
shipped.
day.
I think it did. I'm pretty sure Quantum of Solace shipped.
Yeah, Quantum of Solace shipped.
I
I'm
did some
pretty sure
pre-production on that.
Okay.
Worked on some Tony Hawk titles and
Cool.
Guitar Hero, and then I went and worked on Warhammer Online.
Where Pat and I
Where
actually
we met. Yes, where we met.
Many a smoke break back when we were both smoking.
Yes.
We're
Don't
now,
smoke, kids.
Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. We're
Yeah.
now older, healthier,
Yes.
and Pat eats nothing but raw protein and
Yeah, it's like it's got to be green and seared.
seared.
Yeah,
There we
so
go.
It's either meat and what meat ate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good rule. That's a good rule. Yeah. So you did work on Warhammer Online for quite a while.
Yeah, like 2.5 years.
2.5 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
That was that one of like your more enjoyable projects?
Absolutely.
The art style.
I loved every day
Yeah.
of making that content.
Well,
Of
it
course,
was a great team.
it was an
very-
incredible team, really talented artists. I learned.
Hey, Jameis, Matt,
I
Frenchie,
learned a ton.
all you guys.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Not that you're watching this, but if you
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
happen to. Like when you were working on Warhammer Online, what were you mostly doing there? Like character modeling as well? Or?
Yeah, I've always been a character modeler
Okay.
In games, and Warhammer Online was no difference. And
Okay.
I did a lot of player armor, like
player
a
armor? Okay.
lot of player armor, a lot of hair and beards and customization type stuff. Pretty much like all the things that you forget you have to make. You know, like oh yeah, I don't want everyone running around with the same haircut
Right.
or the same beard, so I made many haircuts and many beards and many pieces of player armor,
Right
and with the occasional monster kind of
Well,
sprinkled in there.
it's good that you were doing the hair and beard, seeing as you have a lot of
I am
reference material
yes,
there.
Yes. I sort of do.
You just kind of look in the mirror, just like,
Yep.
this looks like a good dwarf beard
Yeah,
here.
just take photos of myself and then just clone stamp it.
There you
know,
go.
And that's how I get my dwarf beards.
That makes sense, actually. That would be an effective technique. Wow. Thanks for making my Gobo shaman look so sweet.
Oh, you're very welcome.
There you go. The
I
goblins.
can't take all the credit.
Right.
You know, it's always a team effort. Like there was like 9 other artists on that character project, or the character team on that project. So they were all very talented artists.
Yeah, it was a great team.
It was an incredible
Great
team.
But you know, you went from there and worked a little bit on.
Oh, I went to King's Isle and worked on the 101 projects.
Okay,
the
right on.
Wizard and Pirate games, the kids MMOs.
It's a drastic shift in style, wouldn't you say?
It is.
It
It was.
is.
It was. You know, it was an experience. I have no. You know.
Yeah.
Nothing but good things to say about
But you know,
it.
that actually points out, you know, something that's a valuable skill amongst for a character artist is that, you know, you're not necessarily directly translating your personal inspiration
Right.
or your personal artistic style. And this is something for artists in general, I think, in the game industry, is that, you know, you have to adapt your art, your style to fit into whatever the art style for the game is that you're working on. I mean, is that a challenging thing to do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that I think a lot of people aren't really prepared for coming out of school or trying to get into working in video games. That, you know, oh yeah, you may have cultivated this art style of your own over time, which is a natural development of anyone's artistic ability. But when you get into work, like, you're not making your art, you're making other people's art. So you really need to be flexible, and you need to be able to hit style and you know, understand like what it is to make a Dawngate character, what it is to make a Warhammer character, because those are not going to be the same thing.
Very different.
And
so.
yeah, and then every time you change jobs, you know, you need to adapt, and being able to adapt is an incredibly strong trait to have.
Very cool. Well, before we get further into your work here on Dawngate and get some Q&A from the crowd, I wanted to go over some of our community, the community spotlight stuff that we do every Wednesday. And this is just basically where we talk about stuff that's going on in the community. One of the things that I actually like to do, and I'm going to go ahead and pop over here really quickly to our browser window, is talk about what's going on the Reddit. And this one is one I wanted to actually point out really quickly. I drew Moya.
Yes. Yes.
Love you, Kit.
I think.
What is Kit?
Kit. I think Kit is.
Keep in
Moya's,
touch, maybe? I don't know.
I thought Moya's girlfriend was Kit.
I don't know.
I think she says Kit.
Does she say Kit?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to ask. I'd have to ask somebody on the team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kit is Moya's lover.
Okay. Lava.
I love her.
Yes.
Love her.
Interesting. So do you think you could model something?
I could.
You could?
I think so.
Yeah.
I could.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, this is obviously done in like MS Paint or something
Yeah.
along those lines, right? So, you know, what you said, keep working on it. Keep
Yeah,
trying.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's really only one way to become an artist, and that is to just keep working at it.
Practice,
you know?
practice.
It's all practice. Like anyone who's like, oh, I don't have the talent. Talent's a lie. Talent is a lie. Just keep working at it. Work, work, work. If you love it, you'll get better at it.
Right, that's true. I mean, and that's one of the things, like, a lot of people ask me, you know, do I have to go to art school to be a game artist? Would you say you have to?
No.
Or no?
Nope.
I mean, because there are plenty of game artists out there who are self-taught.
Yeah,
It is,
absolutely.
you
Absolutely. I know plenty of them. Most of the stuff that I know how to do for games was self-taught. Especially the technical side of things.
Right.
You know, you learn it by reading forums and watching tutorials and reading books and just working. Now, to become like a really good artist, like core principles and early fundamental stuff, that's hard to learn on your own. Like you can totally do it. You can read all the books and watch all the videos, but being in an art school environment will help foster that sort of sharing of ideas and learning experiences that the professors, who are hopefully very good artists, will impart upon you. But I think that to be a professional artist, you have to go to art school is sort of a myth. You know, I would not recommend it. But if you did want to do art for games, like if you did want to do art for games and film, I would recommend going to fine art learning fine art,
Okay. Interesting.
learning anatomy, lighting, color, shape and form, and all these fundamental principles are very, very, very important. Learning how to make a 3D model is technical. It's just a technical application of your artistic ability. It's harder to learn how to draw and how to paint and why certain colors look good with one another and why certain forms balance others and all that other stuff. That is difficult to learn on your own, but totally doable. And I would, if I could do it again, I probably would go for a more fine art focus in my schooling, and then just learn the 3D stuff on the side.
That's really cool. It's interesting to know that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Also, you know, if you're not checking out the Dawngate subreddit yet, what's wrong with you? You should definitely be checking this out.
Absolutely.
There's a huge following over there already. Almost 1,500 people who are subscribed to the Dawngate subreddit. Daily discussions. The Waystone Games staff actually spends a lot of time reading through there. And participating in the conversation there. I know Pat was saying he checks it out daily. We all check it out daily. Another
Listen
thing
to Money Pigs.
Yes, listen to the Money Pigs podcast.
Listen to Money Pigs.
That's a good. That's actually. I'm really glad that we've already, you know, 6 weeks in and we've already got a podcast rolling. So
that's pretty good.
That's pretty awesome.
Solid.
I'm glad they have enough things to talk about. By the way, guys, yes, we are giving away beta keys today. We're doing it silently in the chat. The rules are you have to be following the channel. And if you're following the channel, you have a chance to win a beta key. Pluto, behind us over there, go ahead and give him away, Brad, is going to be sending you a PM in your inbox from the channel if you are selected as a winner. And if you wonder how we give those away, check out the FAQ down below. You don't have to download the Google Chrome extension. That's just what we use to give it away. So anyways... Alrighty. What else? Oh, so another thing I wanted to talk about actually today was this. We are growing. The Waystone Games team is growing. We are looking for a new assistant producer. Yes. And there's other positions that we'll be hiring, opening up later, and we'll post those and share those with the community, of course. But hey, you know, if you happen to be in games, you happen to be an experienced producer or project manager, throw your name in the hat. Doesn't hurt. The worst thing we can say is no.
Yeah.
I know.
Absolutely.
I've been told no many times.
You get used to hearing no.
It's part of being in the gaming industry.
Part of being in games.
It is true. But you know, you work hard enough, and eventually you hear more yes than no.
That's true.
And that's what she said. All right. What else? Kind of the other thing I wanted to talk about today, kind of highlight from the community, is this actually. Not necessarily Penny Arcade itself, but there has actually been a kind of a community that's sprung up around the Penny Arcade forums, in the Penny Arcade forums around Dawngate. You know, I've been posting in the thread they got going over there. Can I win a beta key when I watch via iPad? Delacroix, if you're logged in and you're chatting, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I don't see why
as
not.
long as you're logged in and following the channel. So anyways, so yeah, the Penny Arcade community has this Dawngate community, sub-community, I guess, that's kind of jumped up around it. They're watching what we're doing with interest and participating in the tests. I know I've seen several of the names. Hello, Mini Ferret, Otter, Mini Wolf, whatever. He's always asking for a ferret shaper. That's all I know.
A ferret shaper.
He wants a ferret shaper.
Otter is pretty close to a ferret.
I've said that like an otter is basically just a wet ferret.
Yeah,
right?
it's it's a water ferret.
It's a water ferret. There we go. He doesn't buy it.
We'll see what we can do. I'll file that one away.
You can file that one away. Outstanding. So, anyways, if you're part of the Penny Arcade community, check it out. It looks like it's in the off-topic games and technology forum, and there's a community there that talks about Dawngate. So check it out and join in the conversation there. Cool. Also, I did want to point this one out. This is kind of cool. An old friend or an old community member from Warhammer Online, actually, named Mike Morris, Michael War, who works for Stratix now, has actually been starting to run Dawngate community events at a local, they call it a gaming bar, called Clutch Gaming Arena. I guess they serve booze and have gaming, like a LAN center with booze.
Oh yeah, is this still back east?
No, it's not. It's not back east. Actually, it's in Colorado.
It's in Colorado. Colorado.
If you're in the
Nice.
Denver area. You should check this out. I was kind of surprised to hear about it, but you know, we gave them some beta keys to give out to folks who are participating. They're gonna try it. They've been live streaming. They're gonna try and do some other stuff and things like that. So this is really kind of cool to see. to see this springing up, and this is actually kind of one of the things that we're talking about doing, is actually kind of going out there to all the different LAN parties in the community, and spending time out there, with the LAN parties. This is Clutch Gaming. They have kind of a basic site and stuff like that.
Gaming bars are awesome. I actually, when I was in college, my girlfriend at the time worked at one, and I'd never been to one before. I'd only played video games with people from Europe who played in gaming bars all the time.
Right.
So the concept of the gaming bar was really bizarre until I
Yeah.
went to visit her at work, and I thought it was really awesome. I had never experienced one before, and I was just like, this is really cool.
So like in college, I actually worked at a PC bong in Southern California, and so like it's cool. Like at a PC bong, there's no booze or anything, right? And PC cafe is kind of a little bit different. It's usually mostly just a bunch of Asian guys sitting around playing.
You're allowed to say that without sounding inappropriate.
I can say it because I was there, one of the Asian guys working. But it was like it was basically just a bunch of us sitting around playing Counter-Strike and StarCraft all day.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
StarCraft 1 and Counter-Strike pre 1.3, folks.
Yes.
That's how fucking ancient I
no
am.
riot shields.
Yeah, no, none of that. So no riot shields. That's right. Yeah.
No riot shields.
Was it 1.3?
No dualies either, I don't think.
No, there was dualies.
Were there?
There was
Okay.
dualies. It was a joke.
I think it wasn't 1.6 when they added the riot shield and like the shield and the pistol and
That must have been, yeah. It
Yeah.
must have been like 1.6 or something like that. But then they had no, back when I was playing, it was still, you could like deagle no scope op and,
Oh, yeah.
and, be just crazy. Anyways,
you have like a little red dot on the center of your monitor that you put there with a marker so you can no scope.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, well,
I didn't do
Some
that.
people are cheaters.
Cheaters. The Brad back there, he's like,
Hey man, it's
cheater.
competitive. It's competitive.
It
right?
is.
You gotta win. You gotta win.
Is. I didn't ever use the red dot, although I remember actually like having to clean the red dot off of off of monitors back when they used CRT monitors.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am so old. Anyways,
It's all right. I'm right there with you.
oh my god, I knew I wasn't the only one with a center dot screen.
Yeah, that's right. Anything to win.
So anyways, and so that's a kind of a cool thing that's springing up, a Clutch Gaming Arena in Arvada, Colorado.
Colorado.
I don't
Sounds
know.
nice.
I guess that's west of Denver, it looks like. Northwest of Denver.
Oh, so it's still probably like hilly.
Yeah.
I drove through Colorado once. It was awesome. Colorado is
It's a gorgeous state.
so pretty.
Yeah.
Mountains are awesome.
And it's really like diverse too, because it's like, you drive, you got desert, mountains,
Yeah. They just sort of appear.
They just
It's
appear.
amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of cool. Anyways, so that's cool, fun stuff. And of course, we also, as always, we have the Dawngate IRC
Yeah.
on QuakeNet. If you're not in there, you should join it. Check it out. QuakeNet.com. Any server will do. And it's hashtag Dawngate. And we usually have some representation from the development team hanging out in there. So join the conversation there. Sorry, I just got a little bit of like burpiness going on here. So that's kind of the community roundup really quickly. And looks like you as well have the burpiness going on.
That's what the latte does to me.
It does do that. Oh, so you have a latte.
I have an iced latte. What the remnants?
The remnants of an iced latte. I'm going with the yerba mate again.
Oh, delicious.
Did you hear about what happened? So like I did this like whole hammy thing where I was talking about somebody asked what I was drinking and I did like a little I'm drinking yerba mate, did that kind of thing. And somebody then like took a screen cap of it and then tweeted that picture at the yerba the Gayaki or whatever it is Twitter page or something. And they retweeted. It's our community. That's
That's pretty awesome.
Anyways, so yeah. CSL James. There we go. Yes. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about your work here on Dawngate. So you, obviously, like we said earlier, you're a character artist.
Yes.
And folks, we will be taking questions later on. So if you have art questions, this is a great time to ask them. Pat is super experienced. Can probably give you a lot of technical answers that if you are a person who understands the whole art and drawing thing, You probably should.
Is that a full arm sleeve? Yes.
It is. Oh, you
Yes,
want to
it
show your?
is.
You wanna show
No,
your
I do
tats?
not. I'm not rolling up my sleeve.
Dude, show it
No,
off.
no, no,
Come
no.
on, come
But
on.
there's a lot.
There is a lot. Well, you don't have to like show off like all your tats, but come
Yeah, I
on.
just have to just take my shirt off on
Yeah.
stream. I'm sure everyone would love it.
I'm sure that some people would get a thrill out of
Maybe
that.
one or two. Maybe
Right.
one or two.
So wait, now what is the upper arm sleeve really quickly though? Just show it. Come on. There
It's
we
just
go.
a bunch of monsters and tentacles and blades and skulls and all sorts of things.
The detail, like the hoodie, you have a lot of good work, very well detailed work. And
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. I'm actually really happy with
you
with
wanna-
the sleeve that I have.
Do you want to pimp your artists out or?
Oh yeah, Chris Oppenheim out of Baltimore, Maryland. He's really solid. Manic Tattoos, I believe, was. It's been so many years since I got a tattoo from him. I haven't lived on the East Coast in a long time.
Yeah.
But when I was living outside of DC, when I was working on Warhammer,
Uh-huh.
I would go to Baltimore for tattoos.
For your
regularly.
tats.
Regularly, my tats.
I went up to Baltimore, but it was for cake.
Yeah. Cakes are pretty delicious too. I can eat cake while I'm getting tattooed.
Remember that? Remember the squid cake?
I do remember the squid
That thing
cake.
was crazy.
That thing was awesome. It was super cool.
One of these days, I have to dig out the stuff for that. Will I be getting tats to match Pats? Probably not. I'm not really a tattoo guy myself. I appreciate tattoos. I realize that they are like probably one of the most risky forms of art out there because it's pretty permanent, right? Although I have been watching, what was it? There was a show on like TLC or something or Discovery or something. It was like for cover-ups.
Oh
right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the tattoo disasters.
Yes,
and
it's
they would
amazing
have
to see some of the work that they're able to salvage.
the things that they were able to say. Exactly. I mean, it's like watching these guys. This guy come in here was like, I got married to this girl in Vegas, and I got a tattoo of her face on my butt or something.
Yeah, and it's awful, and they have no idea what to do, and then they make it awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Tattoo disaster. Thank you.
Tattoo
I love the
disaster.
guy. He actually did. He got a tattoo cover up on his ass, and they. This was hilarious. They decided to make it into like a pirate scene, so it had like a buccaneer and like a ship and everything. And halfway through it, the artist started laughing uncontrollably, and she goes, "I just realized we're making a butt pirate." Anyways, so that was funny. Thank you, butt pirate. Somebody got it.
Good stuff.
So
We got some good questions in here.
we do have some good questions. We'll get to the questions. Save your
Should we
questions,
get to
guys.
the questions? Okay.
We'll get to the questions. So let's talk a little bit about some of the art you've been doing here. So let's we're gonna go over here to this window right here. Yes, the Desecrator.
My Desecrator. Yes, Desecrator. So Desecrator is probably the most fun I've had on this project so far. Desecrator is a really interesting situation where he was a drawing on. He existed in a number of drawings actually for months. It was always this idea that the team had early on to do some kind of a gravestone golem, which was his working title for a long time. He was a gravestone golem, graveyard golem. We weren't really sure what he was going to be. And then I sort of got the opportunity to one day, like it was pretty late, and I was drawing on a whiteboard, drew Desecrator as he sort of is right there, and it sort of just like clicked with the art team, and I kind of got the go ahead to do whatever I wanted with Desecrator, which was sort of fun.
So is this from concept to creation yours or?
I
In a way.
can't take all the credit for it, because it did start out as an idea that was sort of like everyone on the art team sort of threw some ideas at the wall on like there are a bunch of old school drawings of Desecrator that were all different, and then with the final design that we went with, I had a pretty decent hand in it, but I also got to work closely with design on making his kit, and
very cool.
yeah, so it was really fun to kind of be like, well, wouldn't it be cool if like he punched the ground and tombstones came up? All right, I'm going to make tombstones too. And then I just made some tombstones, and sure enough, Dibs was like, yeah, that's a great idea. We did that, and we wanted the arm, like the zombie mortar. Like the zombie mortar was like it was really early on in the process. It's like, we need to mortar zombies. We need to mortar zombies.
Right.
Or there was another idea too, where like he would open his doors and kind of like pudge hook you, but it was just like a bunch of corpses kind of like holding on to each other, and the corpses would shoot out and grab the enemy and like
What?
hold them back in. Yeah, but we decided like it would be more, I don't know, it would be kind of neater to do more of like a zone denial sort of
Right,
idea.
right. With the arms coming up out of the ground.
Well, yeah, with the arms coming out of the ground, and then the mortaring the zombies and creating the death fogs. We decided like to go that direction, or at least I designed. I was just like throwing ideas out. I'm like, well, what if we could do this? How about they explode? You know, what if they
Right.
what if they just come out of the ground and they just start? You know, it's like a swarm character where.
So what vitality does he represent?
Decay.
Decay. Okay.
I think he is decay. Yes.
Interesting. So somebody was asking, it'd be great to see a 3D model of it. So I do know what you're implying, but actually, strangely enough, this is actually a 3D render.
Yeah, that's just the game model. Actually, that's not a drawing. That's the game model that's in the game.
Yeah, we've
now.
arted it up a little bit, changed some of the lighting and stuff on it.
Yeah,
right,
just it's like anything else. We did like a little bit of a marketing pass on it, a little bit of Photoshop here and there, painted some vitality and some icicles on his hand, and gave him like a rim light. But that's the model.
Yep.
That's in the game.
Yeah, but if here's the thing with actually showing like it in like the modeling program, we only have the one license for
so
Maya. Is that right?
I actually model in 3D Studio Max.
3D Max. Okay.
And it's not really a standard for EA to use.
Right.
So like we only have a couple of licenses floating around, and I happen to have one of them.
Okay.
We do everything in Maya, since EA is predominantly a Maya studio.
Right.
But I just don't like modeling in Maya. I'm like 100 times faster in Max.
Really?
Modeling in Max is just faster and smoother. And when it comes down to deadlines, I could learn to get as fast in Maya, and I do on my spare time. But I'm a much faster Max modeler, so it's just like, well, we need to get this stuff done.
Well, and that is you bring up a really good point. I mean, deadlines is that's another kind of unspoken thing about being an artist in games is that yes, you want to create these really awesome, amazing arts, but the reality is you're in a production environment. You are on a schedule, you're on a timeline, and you have to produce. You have to produce quality work in a good amount of time,
right.
And so using the right tools for you is super key for that.
It is, and that's another thing I think a lot of people kind of don't really realize when they go into games is that it's not about making it's not about spending 5 months making the greatest model the game has ever seen. It's about making the greatest model you can in an acceptable time frame.
Right.
And realizing that it's not just the work you're doing, but it affects everyone down the chain. Like animators can't animate this thing until I finish making it. It's got to be done, and then animators can make it. Then the animator can be animating, and the effects guys can be throwing effects on it. And like all of these other jobs are dependent on you getting it done on time.
Okay. So when it comes to Desecrator, like what were some of the techniques that you had to employ here that were maybe particularly challenging, or just was there anything particularly challenging, I should say, about modeling Desecrator?
So what's particularly challenging about Desecrator? So the thing about Desecrator is that we wanted to have a graveyard, like an environment on him. We wanted him to be a walking environment, sort of. He has the gravestones and the grass and the dirt on top of him, and our engine doesn't allow lighting on blended geometry.
Okay.
So that was sort of a problem where we wanted to do like cool shrubbery and grass and like maybe do some plants or something, maybe just some more foliage on him, like
right.
Sort of like pseudo-treant, like maybe this was all in the concept phase, like maybe he's actually like a treant encased inside this thing, and it like got up and he started walking around and he's just covered in stuff,
right.
But we don't have the option for blended geo, which pretty much means opacity, alpha channel.
Okay.
Punch cards, cutouts. So that sort of was an interesting experience trying to get convincing grass, convincing moss, making it look good in style, make it read as grass and dirt without being able to do like cool cards and planes and stuff to make it like feel like a shrubbery. It's more of like a mossy ground, and that was probably the most challenging. Painting moss isn't easy.
Doesn't look like it. I mean, 'cause you have to kind of convey that texture of like hair slash carpet slash grass.
Right,
I mean, it's
right.
like
With nothing really to
with
we have
nothing,
no
yeah.
volume really. It's
To give
just
it
sort of
depth. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, what engine do we use? We actually use our own proprietary engine.
Yeah, we do.
So,
We use a heavily modified proprietary engine.
yeah,
Yeah.
built off of the Darkspore engine or whatever.
Well, I think
Or
at
even
its base it's Spore. I
Spore.
think
Yeah,
at the very foundation of it is a Spore engine, and then Spore was used to make Dark Spore, I believe, and
Yeah.
then we kind of gutted most of that stuff. I didn't work on Dark Spore, so I can't really speak to this, but
Yep.
you know, we kind of gutted it all and just used a few things that we wanted and then rebuilt everything else.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. So let's see here. Let's look at another one that you
Yes,
did.
Painting Moss sucks. Tasupa, you were right.
Painting Moss does suck. Petrus.
Petrus, yes.
This is obviously
Arm Wizard.
Arm Wizard, my my
Working
favorite
title, Arm Wizard.
working title. Yeah, that is true. He was called the Arm Wizard. So Petrus is really cool because you have this, and I've said this before artistically, you have this interesting juxtaposition of the frailty of an old man and then the strength embodied in his arm.
Right.
Like, how did you translate that once you got the concept? The concept obviously was pretty, had that that message in it, so to speak. Like, how did you translate that into the character model?
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do with understanding the kind of game that you're making and what is really, and in the end, like the most important aspects of each individual character from the position at which you'll be seeing them all the time. In the concept for this character, I felt he needed to be a bit more drawn, as in height-wise. He was sort of squat in his early designs, and we stretched him out and we changed some of the proportions around. But anytime we translate a character from 2D to 3D, there's always the past that we have to go through and look at it from the 3/4 angle. If it wasn't concepted in the 3/4 angle, like if it wasn't designed from all those angles, like it's really good to throw it in the game early, see what it looks like from that camera angle, see if the forms are reading, what is its profile, like guessing what he'll look like in an idol. All of those important, like all those profile changes and shape changes and shape relationships are really important because you're going to be seeing it from that angle.
Yeah. Which is
And
actually
silhouettes are super important. Like,
Yep.
you need to be able to really identify the enemy character or
Yep.
the friendly character at a glance.
Yeah, you do need to be able to just look at it and be like, okay, that's so and so. I know what they're going to be able to do,
Right,
right?
right.
It's very important to communicate that, which is actually another challenge of game art is making something that not only looks really good but is very easily translatable because
Right.
the art has to be not just pretty but functional.
Yes, it has to be. A lot of times you get concepts where they just don't, like, the drawing is gorgeous, but those shapes don't work in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
And not all the time you have to worry about that. It's a concept artist or an illustrator trying to make a beautiful drawing or a great idea. Then it's the modeler's job to take that idea and make it work in 3D. And if
Yep.
you have to pull and push things and change planes around a bit, so be it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the process. And for Artificer, I think we threw some concept up earlier.
Yep.
On another stream, and his concept and his model, wound up slightly different through that process of kind of like, well, does this work in game? How's this looking? So on and
see.
so forth.
Maybe I can do like a little side.
Artificer is actually one of my favorite
Let's see
sculptures
here.
to make.
Let me see if I can do a little side by side actually of that.
Oh, all right.
Let's see. I can squeeze this down right here, and then let me add the media file. I want to say Artificer was in.
I'm gonna read for a question.
Yeah, go ahead and read a question while I pull
Let's
that out
see.
here.
Can you design a character that covered in tattoos and uses them to do spells and such?
I saw that one.
Is a pretty cool idea.
That's a very cool.
I will write that one down.
Kind of like I know I've seen them like as a trope in like comic books before and things like that.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I want to say it was in Will.
There was like a character like that in.
There we go.
Something that I saw.
Yeah, there we go. That's the.
Do you draw your own tattoos? No, I do not. I collect tattoos.
You collect tattoos?
I do not draw my own. What is the average poly limit for a shaper? That's a good question. Poly limits, triangles. We do about anywhere from 5.5 thousand triangles to I think our heaviest character is 7.5 thousand triangles. Electra had a tattoo, dude. I don't know what that means. Electra. Oh,
The
yeah.
comic book
Okay, I know who
character?
Electra. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
the villain. Yeah, the kind of like I think he was like a yakuza type tattoo villain or something like
Yeah,
that,
that's
if I
right.
remember
Right.
correctly.
Yeah.
So, anyways, here we have right here. Actually, this is
Yeah.
really cool. You can see the original concept done by the very talented Will Big Friday Coiner.
Big Friday.
Big Friday, and then you can see the result. I mean, so obviously the concept work is very, very stylized in Will's particular style there.
Hmm.
Will, kind of a combination of actually Will and Luke's style there. But if you look at the difference between the two, I mean, you can see some areas where there are things that like practicality wise, like what had to change here practicality wise.
What had to change here? Well, the arm was feeling sort of odd for the size that it was in the drawing. From an anatomical perspective, like if your deltoid is that large, you need to think your deltoid being your shoulder.
Yeah.
If your deltoid is that large, the transition from the deltoid to your collarbone and trunk is going to be really strange.
Right.
It's going to be massive deltoid, very deformed pectoral muscles and scapular muscles, and it's going to be very, very weird. So what we wound up kind of doing was roping it back a bit and making his stone deltoid just slightly. It's larger, it's like bodybuilder size, but it's not
Right.
so large that it would make him like a mutant,
Deformed,
like it wouldn't
yeah.
deform him. And then we shortened the bicep. We kept that short bicep, short skinny upper bicep part, and then really accentuated the fist. We like almost removed the wrist, so it's like pretty much a battering ram.
A forearm to a fist, yeah.
Forearm straight into a fist, into
Yep.
big fingers. Kept the length of it very similarly. I mean, his arm fingertips go down to about his knee, which is like orangutan ape length. Maybe
Yeah.
even about as long as like a gorilla. And then kept to the other side, human, to give him sort of that juxtaposition and that strong right arm that was like pushed through. So very very lore centric.
Yeah,
Object
the
there.
explanation for it is very lore centric, and
And then we just push, we just pushed and pulled some ideas. Like bone limits are a big thing. We can't just do whatever we want because it's it's not like some crazy next gen title where we have 200 bones for a face.
Right.
We really need to conserve. So he has the multiple beard parts, and we're like, well, do we want flapping bits or do we want 4 braided things coming off of his face? So
Right.
we consolidated those to get more flaps in his robe. We threw bones from one place into another. We pulled in his waist a bit to kind of give him a bit more of a dynamic shape in 3 dimensions.
Okay.
Played with his materials a bit, but overall, I think he still comes through as who he is. It's just a lot of pushing and pulling and just sort of like, well, this may look good in a drawing, but what looks good in 3D?
All right, guys. So if you have some questions for Pat, art questions, very much appreciated right now. Feel free to toss them up in the chat. Put a Q with a colon mark and then your question afterwards, and we'll be happy to answer some art questions. The more art specific, the better. And also, if you have technical questions, it's a good time to get them answered. Like I said before, Pat has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to, the different tools that you're going to be working with as an artist in the games industry. Would the stealth mechanic be available later, Shayless? That's not really something that, yeah.
Yeah, I can't really answer about a stealth mechanic. I would love there to
Yeah.
be one. I would love there to be one.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we are giving
I love
out-
stealth. I play Rikimaru and I gank noobs, and they get really upset.
So you do play Dota too, right?
I play, yes. At least once a week. At least once a week, I make a little bit of time. I play around a Dota 2.
Yeah. And when I have questions about Dota 2, this is the guy I actually will go. We'll go and I'll ask this guy questions about Dota 2 and the streamers and stuff like that. So,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Can you?
Seriod is asking, when you were learning 3D rendering in school, did you know how to draw normally? So, like, did you have a significant amount of artistic talent beforehand?
I could draw. Yes.
Yes.
I'm not very good at drawing. That ability is sort of. I didn't really work on that as much as I really should have. Honestly, like I should still be drawing a lot more. But I was artistically inclined when I went to school. It was like something I enjoyed doing, so I pursued it in college, and if it wasn't for being a big gaming nerd and being able to draw, I probably wouldn't have gone in. So yeah.
So is drawing on a PC harder than drawing like in a physical medium?
Yeah. I think it is. Until I got a Cintiq. When I used to
Right.
draw on the Wacom tablets, and I would draw down and look forward, my art really was never very good. Like I always felt like I couldn't do it for whatever reason. It was like I draw one line and it wouldn't go the way I wanted it, and I felt really frustrated. And it took me a long time to get work to the level I wanted it to be. Just like a lot of like redoing. Oh no, like make a stroke. Nope, sucks. Sucks. Undo. And then eventually, like in 2007, 2008, I think I bought a Cintiq. Because it was on sale, and all the guys in the office at Mythic were like, I'm gonna buy a Cintiq. It's like 50% off. I'm like, oh okay, I'm buying one too. And then I got that, and it felt like the gloves were off. Like I was wearing like weighted gauntlets. I was drawing with gauntlets, and then I took them off, and now I could draw, and it was great.
That's
it was just for me. I know a lot of people dislike. Oh, what did I hit?
You didn't hit anything. You're fine.
I can hear like a reverberation in my headphones. Press a button.
I think that might just be me actually tapping my mic by accident.
No, now it's like you said. Oh, I think it was just I hit the volume button or something.
You hit the volume. Okay.
Anyway, what was the question? I don't even remember.
So, well, it's funny you say you went and bought a Cintiq for 50% off. Even at 50% off, that's still like $1,000. I mean,
it was still $1,500.
$1,500. Okay, yeah. Cintiqs are not cheap things.
Not cheap.
Yeah.
And not for everybody. I know a lot of people who don't like it.
So just so that you guys know what I'm talking about, what we're talking about. If you've never used it,
there you go.
TIQ, yeah, Cintiq. Wacom/Cintiq. This is like a.
Is it on the?
Let me just find like a big. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the screen. So a Cintiq is different from a Wacom tablet, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much a monitor with the tablet properties.
Yeah, there we go. So here, I'll just put this on the browser screen really quick here. So that's what a Cintiq is, guys. So a Cintiq is something that you actually draw directly on.
Yes.
And you have all your tools. Like basically, it's a computer monitor, but you have like a different set of tools and stuff like that it allows you to almost mimic drawing on like a physical medium.
It's very close. And it feels going like I have a hard time going back and forth. Like really don't work well with Wacom tablets, which is sort of unfortunate because it's kind of become such a thing I need to have. It's like I have to have it.
Okay.
So
the mini kill is the Makezilla. How long does it take from conception to release of each shaper?
A long time.
Yes.
I don't think I'm allowed to talk about what that cadence looks like, what that time frame looks like, but it is a while. Yeah. Like it's not just art that needs to get done. Like it's design and play testing. So it's like concept phase, modeling, rig, animation, effects, and then in tandem with that, design is making the kit and testing it internally, so on and so forth. So it's a good. It's
a long time.
It's a long process.
I mean, by a long time we mean several months.
Several months.
Obviously, we're going to work on getting that kind of pared down, but I think
I just don't think you can get it much faster than
what we have.
Like what we have.
Yeah.
Just because of testing, like. Yep. You just need to be able to test it.
Yep, several months. So this is a good question from Shaxor. And how often do you think that doesn't fit before you finally think now it's great?
Where is it? I need to read this.
So Shaxor, how often do you think quote that doesn't fit before you finally think now it's great?
All the time. I still think that things don't fit. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've characters that I've done 2 years ago. Like Volok was the first character we made for this game. Yep. I want to go back. I want to remake him. I want to redo it. It's like that doesn't fit yet. That's not where it needs to be. But I know that you can't. Like we just can't. There's just art's never done. It's totally true. But you just have to get to the point where you're like, oh well, I've spent 15 days on this, and I really need to get to the next thing, and I'm managing this, that, and the other thing at the same time, and it's like, well, this is I'm happy with it as it is now enough to say this can go in,
Speaking of,
and not being so precious about it is really,
and that is true. Like you have to, like you want to be a perfectionist, but on the other hand,
right,
You
You know,
know?
and if I was doing this in my spare time for my portfolio work, you know, I would totally spend as much time as I want on it. But in the end, this is the time I have, and I'm going to make the most of that time.
Yep.
But it's not uncommon to have something approved and finished and done, and you're still like, man, I really want to go back and tweak that. And every time you look at it, you see something off. But you just have to kind of control yourself and be like, well, I'm going to file that one away
Yep.
as some experience that I've learned, and I'm going to apply that to the next time I have a character that's similar, or a surface that's similar material, and so on, just to keep upping your game and learning.
Genbu is asking, what kind of maps do the shapers comprise of? Is you know,
Okay.
spec maps, etc. So if you can explain what mapping is to
right.
to laymen really quickly.
What mapping is to LA. So imagine a T-shirt pattern. Imagine if you've ever made clothes or seen clothes laid out or a costume. It looks like, you know, front of the shirt next to the back of the shirt, and you cut out the negative space, and then you stitch the shirt together. All 3D models are set up that way.
Okay.
So we take a three-dimensional surface and flatten it on a two-dimensional plane, and then
Which looks it looks hilarious, by the way.
it's a very sometimes they look really bizarre, especially if they're like human faces and
Yeah.
they're stretched out all funny and they look really weird. It's bizarre, but so those are we pretty much take three-dimensional points in space and translate them to two-dimensional points, and then where you paint on that plane, it transfers to the model.
Okay.
So we use 4 maps on our characters, for 4 files anyway, which have a number of maps in them. You know, we have our diffuse map. Diffuse means color. It's pretty much the texture, the basic texture, and that's pretty much the colors you see on the character. And then we have the specular map, which is the light response. So is the surface, you know, shiny metal, or is the surface matte leather, or, you know, even like very diffuse cloth?
Okay.
And that map controls how the lights respond on the model. And then we
Okay.
have a normal map. Excuse me. And the normal map is a map that translates high resolution geometry and fakes it on a low poly model.
Okay.
So pretty much what we do is we make this very high resolution sculpture of the character, and then we make a game ready model, which is much smaller. So, you know, we're talking like 30 million polygons sculpture, translate it to 7,000 triangle game model.
Right.
So and then we bake the information to the low poly model, and then when you light it, it looks like it's a high poly model,
Yeah.
but it's actually a game res model.
That's a very
use
common technique actually for games that are like, you know, DirectX 9 or older generation.
Yep.
Games basically that are trying to look good on a wide variety of machines is one way of looking at that, right?
I mean, yes, you could probably get into the settings and turn off the normal maps and stuff on our game and just go to diffuse, I think. But it's going to lose a lot, but
Yeah.
you could still run it. I mean, it's just going to look kind of flat.
Yeah.
And I use ZBrush. I don't use Mudbox to answer the question.
I don't think I've
use
ever
ZBrush.
met a game developer who uses Mudbox predominantly for their normal mapping work.
I know a handful of people,
Yeah.
but ZBrush, I mean, it's one of those things. It's a preference thing. You can you pretty much do the same thing in both of them, but I think ZBrush,
Yeah.
for me, was the one that I started on. It's the one that I like the most, and
Yep.
it has some great tools and functionality, so
Yep.
I just like ZBrush.
Weirwood, what made you decide to have the brush high grass react to champion movement? It doesn't react to champion movement, actually. It just kind of randomly moves. Is there any information on the quadruped shaper in the Machinima trailer?
Yeah, there's information on him, but I mean,
Not that we're sharing yet.
Not that I can tell you, but wait a while.
Yeah, we'll be sharing that soon.
All the stuff you saw on the wall, you will see in the game eventually.
Exactly. Eventually, it'll all be there, and you know you could see that with Petrus. Actually, you saw him on the wall.
Yep.
And
Someone saw Petrus on the wall. I think my favorite comment on him was Ice Arm Santa or
Ice
something.
Arm Santa,
Ice
yeah.
Arm Santa,
Yeah.
which I found to be very humorous.
So this is actually an interesting question. What's been well? You actually answered this earlier. What was your favorite shaper so far that you've worked on? And that was that Desecor? Yeah, absolutely.
Desecor. But I'm sort of like precious with him because I got so close with the design process and everything on him. Like he was sort of my he was a lot of fun.
Arctic Noah Nivea. Yeah, we did answer the 3D Max versus Maya. We actually Pat uses 3D Max and then in the studio, people use a blend of 3D Max and Maya. So.
Yeah, I just use 3D Max to model, but everything is done through Maya, all our scripts, all our integration and everything. So it goes from me modeling in Max, and then I just import it into Maya and put it in the game.
Yep. So we've got time for a couple more questions, folks. So remember, art questions. Art questions. Can you show some concept for shapers not yet released? No.
Nope,
No, we
sorry.
can't.
Sorry.
Are there any races?
The humans.
Yeah,
There's humans. There's whatever Dibs is.
yeah, there's. I don't know what we.
Pouchling or something. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's when they're babies.
That was
He's
when
a
they
little furball. Dibs is a little furball. We
He's
have
a-
those in our game.
He's a furry bug thing
Yeah.
creature. I don't know. How large is our art team? Small, like
very small.
10, 12.
Like nine people, 10 people.
Let's see. Hold on. Effects. Yeah, 9.
9?
No, 10.
10?
10 technically with
10.
with Nick.
Yes. Okay. 10 people.
So yeah. Severed head. You're just.
I just read that.
Wow. Dude.
Damn.
Awesome.
Damn.
Awesome.
I like your username though.
Yeah, no, that's nice. Good job. How many shapers are in the pipeline at a time? So Hunter's answered this question before, but like right now, we have 5 or 10, anywhere between 5 and 10, like actively being worked on at a time, and that's probably going to stay fairly consistent throughout the development process. And by throughout the development process, I mean through the next several years. Yeah. So.
Genbu, thank you. Absolutely, man. I will see what I can do.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Any chance you can drop by the DeviantArt group? And he's asking about the DeviantArt group. So, yeah, DeviantArt group. Oh, that's something I could. I'll save that for next week. We'll show that next week. So, there is a DeviantArt group for Dawngate, though. Zetsu Mei. What is one tip that you would give to someone who is going to college for 3D modeling and illustration?
Okay. So, how blunt can I be on this stream?
Dude, be as blunt as you want.
Don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy. That's what I'm going to tell you, because you're going to go to school and you're going to work with people who are 200 times better than you, 300 times better than you, and they're going to be professors who are going to tear your shit apart. And it's kind of like that scene in Glenn Ross, where Alec Baldwin comes in and just like rips them apart.
Yeah.
And you sort of have two people. You have two types of people. You got the people who look at that scene and go, screw that guy. He can't talk to me like that. I'm out of here. And then you have the other type of people who are like, screw that guy. I'm going to show him that I'm great. So you have two options. You can either suck it up and suck and cry and, fail. Or you can say that you are going to show them and you're going to work your ass off.
Yeah.
And you're going to get good. And it never gets easier. You work at studios, you are going to be under some harsh scrutiny, I know some directors and some leads who have made people very upset. It's just the name of the game. It's just the way it is. You can't be precious about your work. You can't be you need a thick skin. You need a thick skin, and you need to work all the time.
Even when you're not working.
Even when you're not working,
you should be working.
You should be. Especially if you're in college, all you have is time to work. Maybe set one day a week to drink with your buddies or something, so you don't become a hermit like I did. But really, work, and keep working. And if you get to a point where you're like, man, this is too much. Like I don't enjoy this, or I'm not liking it right now. It never changes. So if you are in college and you're not feeling it and it's just not working out, and that's kind of a sign, it never gets easier to compare your work to better artists. It never gets easier. You never really feel that you're at the level you need to be. You're constantly going to be struggling to do better work. And if you can't deal with that, and that's not something that you want to deal with, which I completely understand, because even when you do great work, it's still not as good as the guy you are inspired by, or the guys you look up to, and you're only as good as the last piece of work you did, and it's a cycle. So
the things I've heard from artists are, you should always be working on your portfolio. Always be building up like your DeviantArt page. Always be doing things that's, everything that you do is something that's, going to help you get better, right? Yep. So speaking of people like who you look up to, like who who do you like look up to for your artistic inspiration when it comes to your craft?
Oh man, let's see. I feel bad if I miss some names.
That's okay.
But
You'll
like,
get them next time.
guys whose concept art I think is amazing, like Paul Richards. Paul Richards, and especially the work that he did on the Darksiders games. Joe Mad stuff from Darksiders, incredible. As far as like modelers go, Roderick Prelier from the Mass Effect games, Colby Jukes from Mass Effects and Halo. Those guys are incredible sculptors. Alessandro Baldasseroni from Blur. He's the lead modeler in Blur.
Even I know that
he
name.
did those characters from that Elder Scrolls
trailer,
cinematic, and it's just incredible. Like I don't know how to do that, and I want to do that, but it's incredible.
Anything that the Blur guys do is just fucking balls
right.
to the wall.
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, you see that, and you're like, yeah, okay, this is pre-rendered stuff. You know, this is cinematic stuff. You can't do this in a game, but with the way games are going now, like the lines are blurring between what you can do and what you can't do with this technology, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, I don't know how to do that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, funny enough, a bunch of my the guys I really look up to actually work at Riot. They actually work at Riot, like Lee Strauss and Brian King are incredible guys over there who are really good modelers.
Right on.
Same thing with Josh Singh. So on and so forth. Andy Nisbet on Valve. He's at Valve on Dota 2. He's an incredible modeler. Jim Murray, who's doing a lot of the artwork for Dota 2.
So needless to say, like you're
I'm sorry, I'm going. I'm just going.
You're scooching off camera right now.
I'm just, as I say these names, I'm just getting smaller. Actually, I'm actually getting smaller.
You know, it's good. I mean, I would imagine that a lot of these guys probably look at the work that you've done in the past, and also are equally, you know, impressed or see things to be.
I don't know. Maybe I'd like to think so. But I won't hold my breath on that one.
Yeah, you know, like somebody said in the stream earlier, you know, you're always going to be your worst critic when it comes to this stuff.
You are.
So, but right on. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Pat. It was a lot of fun, man. And hopefully the folks who are art students and art fans out there got some good questions answered.
It's a lot of up arrows going on.
I know, it's a chat thing.
Not really sure. What's the best way to start and get into the type of career? Draw and sculpt.
Seek out criticism.
Always, and not from your,
not from your mom.
Well, the thing about asking for criticism from your parents or your siblings or your friends who are non-artists, they're going to be able to see sort of like the immediate, like what's kind of off with it, because humans are just, especially if you're drawing humans are used to seeing humans, and you get too close to your work a lot, and you have a hard time kind of seeing what's wrong with it. So if you go to your folks or you go to your friends and you're like, so what's wrong with this? They can probably point out the problems with your anatomy or something, because they're used to seeing humans. But yes, seek out criticism from artists, professionals if you can. There are a lot of ways to find them: Twitter, Facebook, DeviantArt, CG Hub, whatever. Most artists will actually look at your stuff. Like if you have a portfolio, you send it to a guy on CG Hub, he's a really good artist. If he sees the message, he'll probably take like 5 minutes and take a look and reply. You know, everyone, all of us were there at one point, and nowadays it's so much easier to get feedback because there are so many networks. When I was starting off, I had one network, and it was, I mean, it's great, but it was still a limited pool. Now you can just ask anybody on like every art forum, whatever, and like I said earlier, don't be precious about it. If they give you a real criticism, you know, one, they cared enough to take the time out of their day to give you feedback, and two, they're a professional. So, you know, put your ego aside for a second and listen to what they have to say. Yeah. And you know, I wish you the best of luck if that is something that you want to do.
All right. So this is the question that everybody was up arrowing about. What's the most wanted job in the game industry?
I have no idea. I would guess concept artist. I would guess concept artist.
On the art side.
On
the art side, concept artist probably. That's kind of the quote rock star art position, I would say. I would guess maybe, or art director maybe.
I don't know about art director.
Well, from the outside looking in, it's pretty glamorous looking.
Maybe.
You could ask Luke about that, and he might think a little bit differently.
Yeah, I mean, concept art, you're in an interesting position where you, even though you're working in a restricted situation, your ideas are the ones that they're picking from. So
Yeah.
regardless of what's going on with the game and whatever, you are determining sort of what the ideas could be picked from.
You
So-
have that influence over
Right.
the direction of the game. Yeah.
you one of the more influential positions, and I
Yeah.
think that from an art perspective, if you're a painter and a concept artist and you have passions for these types of things,
Yep.
that is a position I think a lot of people look forward to.
Well, and if you look at some guys like a KK Koteki.
K-Guy, yes.
KK is a perfect example of you look at his art style and then you look at a game like Guild Wars 2, and you can see like his influence all over that game.
Yeah, like
Hugely all over.
Guild
that
Wars 2 like is K-Guy
Yeah.
and Daniel Dochu's art style.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
So, I can see how that would be a very well sought after job in the industry. And here I thought community manager was the number one sought
Oh, I was
after.
going to say community manager first, but I didn't want you getting too big of a head over here.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, it's actually 10 after 12, so we got to get some lunch going on. But thank you very much, folks, for tuning in. Remember, we do not have a play test this Friday, but next Friday we're going to be back strong with 2 testing windows. That's Friday from 12 to 9 and Saturday from 12 to 9. Those are both Pacific times. Check out the posts that we'll put up later for like specific time zones. So yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. 2 whole days of Dawngate.
Yeah.
And
fun.
yeah, and then be sure to tune in next Tuesday for our developer playtest. We will be back with some more Dawngate gameplay on that day. And who knows? Maybe we'll do some developer playtests later on today, just to give you guys one more.
Yeah,
Give
never
you
know.
enough to last you over the holiday weekend. By the way, to all of our folks here in the United States, happy 4th of July. Hope you guys enjoy shooting explosives into the sky and grilling and doing all that fun stuff. To all you guys in other parts of the world, enjoy us being silent for a couple of days. But we will be back soon. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time for the next live stream of Dawngate. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.